Good morning. Today we start with a new metabolic pathway, that is HMP shunt. This is hexose monophosphate shunt. It is a shunt pathway, that is it is not a main pathway, but it is a shortcut for a pathway, and hence it is known as hexose monophosphate shunt. It is also known as pentose phosphate pathway. So today we start with this HMP shunt. So what is hexose monophosphate shunt or HMP shunt? It is the pathway to synthesize pentose sugar from glucose. So in our body only this is the pathway which synthesize pentose sugar. No other pathway synthesize pentose sugar, and that too from glucose or hexose sugar. Therefore it is also known as pentose phosphate pathway. Glucose, the oxidation of glucose takes place, that is for energy, but this pathway mainly is not for energy, but it provides, its importance is it provides NADPH, which is a very important molecule. We will see what are their importance. And number 2, it is important, it's pentose sugar synthesizing pathway. Then we come that reactions. So this pathway is completed in 2 stages. One stage is oxidative phase, whereas the other is non-oxidative phase. Oxidative phase, it is synthesis. First step of oxidation phase is that glucose is formation of pentose phosphate from glucose. So this glucose is converted to glucose 6-phosphate. This glucose 6-phosphate forms 6-phosphogulonolactone. 6-phosphate forms what? 6-phosphogulonolactone, which is then converted to form 6-gluconate. And enzyme for this is glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase. So here again dehydrogenation takes place. Dehydrogenation is what? Removal of hydrogen. So from this glucose 6-phosphate, hydrogen is removed. You can see OH of this and OH of this combine to form oxides, and hydrogen is removed. 2 hydrogens from these are removed and it is forming ketone compound. See, so these 2 hydrogen are, somebody has to carry accept this hydrogen. So these hydrogen acceptors are NADPH. Before this we have seen in glycolysis and TCA cycle that was NAD. Now we have NADP. What is the full form of this NADP? Nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate. This NADP is converted, it takes away 2 hydrogen and is converted into NADPH plus H plus ion. It takes place in presence of magnesium ions. So here the removal of hydrogen is there, that's why the enzyme is dehydrogenase dehydrogenase enzyme. In dehydrogenase enzyme we always use the name of reactant. So therefore it is glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase. Now it forms then 6-phosphogulonolactone. This 6-phosphogulonolactone, it takes a water molecule and it's converted, it hydrolyzes and gets converted into 6-phosphogluconate. Now the oxidation second step is that it takes place in 2 steps, same as first. Now this 6-phosphogluconate again in reducing elements, in presence of this reducing element, that is NADP, it is converted into 3-keto-6-phosphogluconate. It is converted into 3-keto-6-phosphogluconate. This 3-keto is then converted into pentose sugar, that is ketone pentose sugar with removal of 1 CO2. So here 2-step reactions are there. In first step it is dehydrogenation, and in second step it is decarboxylation. So in first dehydrogenation, hence the enzyme is dehydrogenase, and the same enzyme 6-phosphogluconate dehydrogenase. In dehydrogenase we use the name of reactant. And also at the same time removal of CO2 takes place, and now this 6-carbon gluconate is converted to ribulose 6-phosphate. Understood? So it is two-step reaction with dehydrogenation and decarboxylation to form ribulose 5-phosphate. Now we come to non-oxidative phase. So in oxidative phase we had 4 steps, 2 steps in first oxidation and 2 steps in second oxidation. So the final product was ribulose 5-phosphate from glucose 6-phosphate. So this now non-oxidative phase, what is there? This 6-phosphogluconate, we had this 6-phosphogluconate which was converted into 3-keto 6-phosphogluconate and ribulose 5-phosphate. Now here this ribulose 5-phosphate, it's get converted into anidyl forms. It is get converted into other pentose sugar, variety of pentose sugar, that is xylulose 5-phosphate and ribose 5-phosphate and xylulose 5-phosphate. So these many compounds are formed, that is 2 are xylulose 5-phosphate and 1 is ribose 5-phosphate. In this way ribulose 5-phosphate is converted to ribose 5-phosphate. This is ribose 5-phosphate and this is xylulose 5-phosphate. In this way it is ribulose 5-phosphate is now see ribulose 5-phosphate is converted to ribose 5-phosphate. So this is what it is, a isomeric form of ribulose. Ribose is aldehyde and ribulose is ketone. So here the enzyme is what? Isomerase. But now from ribulose 5-phosphate, when it forms xylose 5-phosphate, there is change in OH ion, position of OH ion, which was in this side, now it is on that side. So that is known as epimerase or mutase when the change in number takes place. So here the enzyme is epimerase. So we have seen 2 enzymes. When it converts ribulose 5-phosphate is converted into ribose 5-phosphate, then the enzyme is isomerase, and when the ribulose 5-phosphate is converted into xylulose 5-phosphate, the enzyme is epimerase. Now conversion of pentose phosphate to hexose phosphate. So now non-oxidative stage. First step we have seen, now it is second step. Second step is what? All this pentose phosphate now are converted into hexose. So this ribose 5-phosphate which was formed, this ribose 5-phosphate is utilized for synthesis of DNA RNA. Now we have 2 xylulose 5-phosphate and 1 ribose 5-phosphate. Now these are all 5-phosphate, 5-carbon compounds. They are all pentose sugar. But at the end they will be converted into hexose sugar. So this is fructose 6-phosphate. This is also fructose 6-phosphate. And then this glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate will also form fructose 6-phosphate. In this way, conversion of now pentose into hexose, it again takes place in presence of 3 enzymes, that is 2 are trans ketolase and 1 is trans aldolase. So 3 reactions are there. The first one is trans ketolase, second is trans aldolase and third is trans ketolase. So trans ketolase require a presence of thymine, vitamin B1, thymine pyrophosphate. It is the coenzyme with this trans ketolase enzyme. So now the first trans ketolase, it transfers 2 carbon ketol group, that is thymine pyrophosphate, which serves as coenzyme. It transfers. So here xylulose 5-phosphate combines with ribose 5-phosphate to form what? So these are 5 carbon, these are 5 carbon. So total are 10 carbon. So 7 carbon pseudoheptulose will form, that will has 7 phosphate, and the 3 carbon glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate is formed. Now these again 3 carbon and 7 carbon compounds, that is glyceraldehyde and pseudoheptulose, combined to form fructose 6 phosphate, and erythrose is released, that is a 4 carbon compound. This is 6 carbon compound and this is 4 carbon compound. Now this erythrose, it combines with the third xylulose produced. This third xylulose, then it combines with this erythrose to form, in presence of trans-ketolase and TPP, to form fructose 6 phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate. In this way the cycle is started. We are starting from glucose 6 phosphate and the end product is also glucose 6 phosphate. But then why we are using this pathway, why it is occurring? So it is due to use of this NADPH formation and pentose sugar, this ribose 5 phosphate, which is utilized for DNA and RNA synthesis. So the first, this is now oxidative phase. In this oxidative phase what happens? Glucose 6 phosphate is converted to 6 phosphogluconate and then finally to ribulose 5 phosphate. Now this ribulose 5 phosphate forms its isomeric forms. First with the epimerase enzyme it forms xylulose, with isomerase enzyme it forms ribose, and with epimerase again it forms xylulose. So now we have xylulose, ribose and xylulose. So we have started this pathway with 3 molecules of glucose 6 phosphate. Then only we will able to understand clearly. Then this xylulose 5 phosphate, ribose 5 phosphate and xylulose 5 phosphate again now starts a non-oxidative phase where the enzyme trans-ketolase, trans-aldolase and trans-ketolase, they act and they form what? Fructose 6 phosphate, and glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate. This glyceraldehyde 3 phosphate is then again by gluconeogenic enzyme, it is converted into fructose 6 phosphate, glucose 6 phosphate. So at the end we have, with isomerization, these 2 fructose are converted to glucose 6 phosphate. In this way the pathway is complete. Now what are the significance? This pathway is very important because it creates a formation of NADPH. It is a provision for pentose sugar. It supply arabinose 5 phosphate sugar. It also plays important role in red blood cells fragility. It plays important role in lens metabolism. It plays important role in phagocytosis, also in oxidation, energy production, in tissue anoxia and production of CO2. So all one by one we will go through all the significance. The first is formation of NADPH. So this NADPH molecule formed in HMP shunt is very important. Why it is very important? Because it is used as an electron donor in many reactions. So in many reactions it shows importance, roles in it is in de novo synthesis of fatty acid. So in the synthesis of fatty acid, then in the synthesis of cholesterol, steroid hormones, sphingolipids. It plays important role in synthesis of fatty acid, cholesterol, steroids and sphingolipids. It plays important role in conversion of oxidized glutathione to reduced glutathione. This we will see in RBC fertility. This glutathione is oxidized, is converted into reduced glutathione. This reduced glutathione is very essential as it helps in the removal of H2O2. Then in microsomal desaturation of fatty acid, in synthesis of L-glutamate dehydrogenase enzyme. It also is important in the conversion of phenylalanine to tyrosine. Then as a coenzyme for methyl hemoglobin reductase for conversion of meth hemoglobin to hemoglobin. So meth hemoglobin is what? Hemoglobin with iron in a +2 position, है ना. तो meth hemoglobin has iron in +3 position. So to reduce that +3 to +2, this acts as a coenzyme. Then in uronic acid pathway also it is utilized. Then number 2, it is provision for pentose sugar. Yes, we have seen that D-ribose sugar is synthesized here. D-ribose 5-phosphate. This ribose sugar is used in the synthesis of DNA, RNA, adenosine, all these nucleotides. This ribose sugar is used. Then in the supply of arabinose 5-phosphate, it can be produced here, arabinose 5-phosphate, which helps. This arabinose 5-phosphate is utilized in glycoprotein, which is synthesized from this pentose या HMP shunt or pentose phosphate pathway. Now role in phagocytosis. The reaction of this pathway are increased manifold So reactions of this pathway are increased the lens metabolism. In leukocytes, we have seen studies have seen that 10% generated in this pathway is utilized by NADPH provide NADPH. So NADPH oxidase enzyme utilize to this pathway. This NADPH is necessary for synthesized in HMP shunt, which is utilized in oxidation in this pathway for the production EM pathway. It is superoxide EM pathways that glycolysis material, where the oxidation occur in the first reaction and third reaction by specific dehydrogenase enzyme and NADPH is produced. But carbon 1 of glucose is removed as CO2 by decarboxylation, which is never found in EM pathway. In glycolysis, removal of CO2 does not take place, but in here NADPH is produced but with the decarboxylation. Then role in RB cell fertility, red blood cell fertility, how it plays an important role. See, glucose 6-phosphate, when it is converted into phosphogluconate, then NADPH is produced. This NADPH plays important role. It converts this oxidized glutathione into reduced glutathione. This reduced glutathione is very important as it neutralizes the effect of H2O2. This is hydrogen peroxide. This hydrogen peroxide is reactive oxygen species which is very harmful to the RBC cell. This hemolyzes RBC cell. So when this is not removed, RBC cell will be destroyed and hemolysis will increase. So this RBC cell, this glutathione reduce, it plays important role by removing this H2O2 to produce H2O. Then energy production, the HMP shunt does not have main function of energy production, but it produces NADPH. This NADPH gets converted into ATP when it enters electron transport chain, and this is known as oxidative phosphorylation. So here NADPH, so theoretically 36 molecules of ATP per molecule of glucose are produced here in, which is comparable to glycolysis and TCA cycle. Though glycolysis and TCA cycle are important cycles for energy production. This is not utilized for energy purpose, but still due to the synthesis of NADPH, 36 molecules of ATP are synthesized here. Then it plays important role in tissue anoxia. So tissues subjected to extended period of anoxia, they develop fatty infiltration. Increased amount of glucose may metabolize by HMP shunt in situation resulting from tissue anoxia. The mechanism involved appears to be due to lack of oxygen. So TCA cycle and glycolysis not occur. So increase in this pyruvate occurs. This increase in pyruvate may lead to the accumulation of intermediate of TCA cycle and glucose 6-phosphate. Now that's why it is diverted. This glucose 6-phosphate is diverted towards HMP shunt, and in this way increase amount of NADPH is formed, and this increases fatty acid synthesis, because NADPH plays important role in fatty acid synthesis. So here the fatty acid synthesis will increase, and this causes fatty infiltration. Now production of CO2. We have seen that oxidation and decarboxylation, CO2 are removed from this HMP shunt and it is utilized for the glucose formation or photosynthesis. Now these are some drugs which are oxidant drugs. So these are oxidant drugs. So these causes glucose 6, when there is deficiency of glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase enzyme, then these oxidant drugs will cause hemolysis. Why it will cause hemolysis? Because these all drugs in RBC will produce H2O2, and these all H2O2 will damage RBC cell, which is known as hemolysis. And if glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase is not deficient, then it will produce NADPH. That NADPH will produce reduced glutathione, and that reduced glutathione will affect, or it will by the oxidant drug what H2O2, that is hydrogen peroxide, is produced, that will be removed by reduced glutathione. So reduced glutathione is maintained by NADPH, and NADPH is produced by glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase or HMP shunt. In this way all these oxidant drugs like antimalarials, analgesics, sulfonamides, sulfones, nitrofurones, also vitamin K, propinicides, phenylhydrazine, methylene blue, all these causes oxidation reaction and produce hydrogen peroxide, which is very harmful to us and causes hemolysis of the RBC. I have shown the diagram. This is fava beans. So these fava beans, when ingested uncooked, then it causes glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency. Or when the pollen grains of these beans, when it blossoms from that flower, then also it causes glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency. Then Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome. It is a syndrome. It is a genetically variant. In this syndrome, trans-ketolase enzyme is deficient. And number 2, it is because of TPP, that is thymine pyrophosphate deficiency. So when there is deficiency of thymine pyrophosphate or when there is deficiency of trans-ketolase enzyme, these both stops HMP shunt and the patient suffers from this disorder. In this disorder, it has a neuropsychiatric symptoms, that is confusion and all these symptoms are there, which is psychiatric syndrome. Then relationship with other disease. How HMP shunt is related to other disease. With Plasmodium falciparum infection, there is evidence to suggest that the defect confers some protection against Plasmodium falciparum infection. Because it is a genetic disorder and it is prevalent, it may lessen the severity of malarial infection. It is because it produces NADPH and that will help to oxidate in reduction reaction. So it stops oxidation or oxidants. So in young children and infant, it helps from the Plasmodium falciparum infection. Then with the color blinded, it has seen that color blindness has close linkage with this HMP shunt. So thank you very much for listening. Now we have completed HMP shunt.